Imagine living in a city where every night feels like a threat, where anyone could be the next target of a brutal, unpredictable killer.
That was the reality in Los Angeles during the summer of 1985, when a string of horrifying murders terrorized the city.
We're talking about Night Stalker, The Hunt for a Serial Killer, a Netflix documentary about Richard Ramirez, one of the most disturbing serial killers in modern history.
How did one man hold an entire city hostage with fear? Who finally brought him down? And what creates serial killers, nature or nurture?
Hi, I'm Grant.
Hello, I'm Christian.
Hi, I'm Katie.
Hi, I'm Mo.
Welcome to The Disorg, a podcast where we unpack big ideas from documentaries and the tangents they lead us down.
If you make it to the green room, let us know and check out the description to know what we're watching next.
Oh my God, we're here. Welcome everyone to the Disorg. Today we're talking about the Night Stalker. It's a
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for coming back to my channel.
Welcome back. Be sure to hit that ring-a-ding-ding bell icon.
You're not a real fan unless you do that, and also watch the video podcast. If you're an audio listener, we hate you. Anyway.
Also, subscribe to our Patreon that doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, we're watching The Night Stalker on Netflix for this episode. Very short of it is that it's like about a serial killer called the Night Stalker from the 80s. Very long string of murders and other terrible things, break-ins, essay, fun stuff. So if you are like trigger warning for those kinds of things, but this follows the story of like the police officers that caught him, the media that were around it, and then that were super helpful to the investigation, and a few other people that were around it. Highly recommend that you watch this before you come in for the conversation, because we'll be talking about specifics. But yeah, so what did everyone think?
Well, we've watched it before.
Yeah,
I have as well.
Raise your hand if you have seen this documentary before. So let's start with Mo.
Mo looking sad.
I don't have any criticisms of it. I thought it was like a solid documentary, and I just was able to like focus more on the content itself. Some of the highlights for me were like the fact that they centered it around those two cops who had an interesting dynamic. One of them was like a good cop. The other one was like more of a
ball buster,
introverted ball buster. Yeah, exactly. And like deciding to put it around those protagonists, I think was a great choice for the whole like 4 episodes. I also think they did a great job at making you feel what people in LA must have been feeling at the time. Like there's a killer among us type thing. And like one of the ladies on the cases was like, this is happening on the other side of that wall when there was the Sophie Dickman case. Well, she was like, the lady was in the hot tub and like just like a minute away, the murder was happening. Or
that
like
was terrifying.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then something that stood out to me was that there was no photos of him for so long.
Yeah,
just because we're in 2025 right now, thinking about how that would never happen. I mean, they got pictures of Luigi the next day, like
yeah.
And meanwhile, they were in this documentary, they were going on some terrible drawing that, in my opinion, didn't look very much like him.
Chris said
I
the
said
same
the
thing.
exact same thing. I was like, and like, let's be clear that I'm not blaming anybody who was like reporting back his features to the composite drawer, because how the could you remember what this crazy man looked like as he was doing all of these terrible, awful things? Like, I get it. I totally get it. But yeah, the composite, I think, did not, like, maybe just the gaunt features, but I'm with you, Mo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lastly, the one thing I really liked was like the way they set up the dynamic between the journalists and the cops. I thought that was like, it was almost written like it would be in a movie. Like there's tension between them, and there's like they ran into each other randomly on the scene, and then they had like beef, you know? I thought that was like really cool. So yeah, they did a great job in making this documentary feel like it was like a movie to me. Yeah.
hell yeah. What do you two think? I know you guys have already seen it.
What do you two
What do you two think as a group?
I feel like I've watched a lot of documentaries and docuseries, and sometimes things can blend together. So I kind of started to think this was the City of Angels one. I don't know if you've seen that, Grant.
I haven't.
I kind of conflated them. So when I was watching it, I was like, oh, it's this one. I really enjoyed it, seeing it the second time, I think. unfortunately, there are so many bad people in the world. So a lot of these things can sort of get lumped together, and you end up, as we know, remembering the killer rather than the victims. So there's people outside.
Yeah, can you
sorry.
hear our
Yeah, we can hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
it
can
sounds
hear
like a
Yeah.
cafeteria.
It's insane.
It's really funny because we can't hear anything beyond our walls, but like outside our door, it's so loud.
Well, I mean, people literally having full voice conversations
Yeah,
in the hallway, just like
constantly.
right
It's
outside.
cool. It's New York.
Constantly.
New York.
Dude, New
New
Yorkers
York.
do this thing where they choose the worst possible place to have a gathering, and that's like, it's like a group of teenagers get off the subway, and you walk down like the subway station stairs, and they're like, "Hey, good place to congregate." Literally right at the bottom of the stairs, where everybody else is trying to get off. Let's all just stand in a pile here and discuss the day and our next plans, or like, like in front of doors. And I feel like New Yorkers can't walk in a straight line. So like on the sidewalk, this one person, you'll be like, okay, and you're trying to get around them, and then they'll start to like drift left. You're like, oh, okay. And then they start to drift right. It's like, okay, straight line people, come on. Busiest city in the United States, at least. Let's walk in a straight line, yield. Anyway.
It's infuriating.
But back to discussing the documentary.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's really well done. I liked that, obviously, if you've seen it before or you knew about the case, you knew who it was, but you really sort of were taken along with everybody who felt so in fear. I think this does a really good job of highlighting the victims because they kept repeating names, they kept re-showing photos. They did sort of that, like, almost what I would say like a say their names sort of graphic, which was sort of like repeating the names, repeating their like age when they died, repeating what happened. I think it really like personalized it for me, where a lot of documentaries, it's very easy for those people to get erased in the midst of like the phenomenon of this person. Yeah, I really enjoyed myself. I think, I don't know, I always find the detectives to have these like funny personalities. And I think like Gil is like, I loved when they had the moment of the little girl calling him the teddy bear, because that's what he looks like. It was just sweet. And seeing, I mean, Chris, literally, it's funny because he had finished rewatching before me, and the guy from San Francisco came up and he goes, "This guy is a Banff."
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what happens with this guy
the
again?
San Francisco detective who literally
Who, like,
just like
yeah.
started, and like that picture of him like leaning over the back seat, I was like, he looks like he could be in a Scorsese film.
Yeah.
You know, that Irish cop who's just like, if you don't tell me, motherfucker, where this guy is and what his name
Like,
is,
I feel like I know a guy who looks like him.
you're gonna meet my
vaguely.
two best gals,
get-
Tina and Gina.
They're gonna give you a couple kisses.
I gotta give Chris like an amount
they're
of time
not shy.
allotted for just like the gabbing, the yapping today.
Yeah.
Give him like a yap allotted time.
I'll also bring this up in the green room, but my ins and outs for 2025 is that I needed to stop. Yapping's out. I gotta dial it way back.
I feel that. I feel that.
So do it.
I'm trying. It's my cross
So you
to
son
bear.
of a bitch.
I also really enjoy this documentary. I think from a true crime documentary perspective.
Anyway, don't get it.
Is that it's strong. And it really, like, I didn't know anything about, when I first watched this, who the Night Stalker was. And so coming in completely blind to it, and being taken along of like this crazy thing. And the fact that for the longest time, all they had to go off of was a footprint was insane. And I think that this also did a good job of highlighting one, the kind of nuances of detective work, but also just like the crazy amount of selfishness that exists inside of crime. I mean, I've said this on this podcast before, that there is this, what's the word I'm looking for here? When you're taking advantage of somebody for...
Exploitation?
Thank you. There's an exploitation that's happening, right? For us as viewers watching a true crime documentary, because this happened, it's real, people suffered, people died. This is not just entertainment, this is history, right? So there's a level of exploitation. Then inside of the documentary itself, you see the exploitation inside of the police force in general. Not sharing details simply because somebody wants to be the guy it's like an ego thing is
Yeah.
insane. It's insane.
I-
And just to finish my thought,
Sorry.
the level of the media then thinking about how we can exploit this and this unapologetic exploitation that in the documentary they're talking about. It's like, well, when you know something that you know the police don't want to be released, then you can use that as leverage. I was like, that is so cold. That is snaky. That is like, wow. Like, and you are so unapologetic about it. It's like, I know details that would compromise the investigation. And we see in the documentary, they were leaked eventually. Maybe not the details that reporter was talking about, but you see what the result of that is. They never found that shoe.
The San Francisco mayor, I think it was.
Yeah. Feinstein.
She actually just recently died.
Yeah, she just passed away recently.
Yeah, she's very old.
But it's like something as simple as that, and the investigation, you lose so much progress as a result. And it's just insane to me how there was like so much exploitation happening between the media, inside of the police force. It's like you would think that if the idea of a police force is to serve and protect and to find a killer, that people would cooperate, right? Nope.
No.
People inside of it are just as enterprising as that like cutthroat businessman who's attempting to get his paycheck a little bit bigger. So I thought that was a great highlight inside of this, and juxtaposed by the two detectives who were just like, Gil was literally saying people thought I was just some punk, some hot shot trying to make a name for himself. And he was like, no, I was just trying to do a good job. And talking about how he wished his father was there to see that he put this person behind bars. And the victims too. They're just like, all we want is justice. We don't care about, the politics. We don't care about this like counterculture thing that is attractive to these people about this guy. We don't care about all of that. It's real. It happened. And we just want it to end. We just want it to be over. We don't care about anything else. So,
yeah. What I was just going to say, in addition to you, I was going to say, I think it's really crazy how often you see in these cases police just doing a shoddy job, and it like continuing to take longer and longer and longer, despite the technology that you have. Like, we see that now, and we have so much at our disposal that these cops didn't. And killers take advantage of the fact that they know that states don't talk to each other. They know that different districts or different counties don't talk to each other. And that's how Bundy got away for a while, because he was killing in different states. And if it's like not in their jurisdiction, then they can be like, yeah, I don't really care. That didn't happen in my jurisdiction. And they will refuse to connect these things. Like the fact that it was happening in San Francisco, it was pretty quick from what I've seen in other documentaries, how quick they were able to connect it. But it's so frequent that the very clear ties are just ignored. And also they were saying this with the fact that he was raping young people and not killing them, and how they like absolutely refused to connect it at first. And they were like, it's not the MO, it's not the MO. I mean, criminal psychology, it's come a long way. I just read the Mindhunter book recently, and it really tells you, and like, it's very clear that a lot of these things line up in certain ways, but there's always the 1% that differentiate, that deviate from the norm, and you can't just settle on that as like the only reason.
I love calling it a norm.
It's the norm of serial killers,
deviant
yes.
behavior, or whatever, yeah.
But it can exist, and to like fully just like sit on your training and everything and be like, well, I know best and blah, 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 and like not really taking those things is ego at the end of the day. And it's really upsetting that it can take so long to find people. Like literally the like people that were killed right after was it Dianne Feinstein releasing that, and then he still what really infuriated me was the dentist office, how they were like, we are going to take people out of the dentist office, and the burglar alarm, we're going to put that in. Of course it doesn't work. Of course the people, the day that he comes, they're not there. It's the day after. And then he got away with killing more kids. And the immediate shot is the granddaughter that lost her grandparent when she was 5 after this happened. And it's like, if you have enough ego, we don't have the money for this. It can really compromise and even put more people at risk.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2.5 episodes in, it almost felt to me like it was dragging, but not in a bad way. Like, to support your point, I'm not saying I was bored. I was just starting to be frustrated at how many people this guy has been murdering and still hasn't been caught.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what the residents must have been feeling too, right? And probably the cops too. Like, come on, man, can we just get this over with?
Yeah. I mean, it's why a lot of times they don't investigate when people get kidnapped, because it's like, well, if they're within 24 hours, they could have gone off on their own. And then the first 72 hours is so critical to find someone who's been kidnapped, because after that time, it's more likely that they're dead than alive. And like to constantly be like, well, I don't know, they might be out, they might be playing, they might be doing this, regardless of what a family says. Or like, it's just like time after time, like, what is taking so long? It's just incompetence, it's ego, it's so many different things, but it's infuriating looking in the future now.
Quick jump on that too, because that's also a myth that's been perpetrated. I'm not saying that you're perpetrating it, but like it's like you have to wait 24 hours to file a missing persons report or something like that. Usually stems that's not correct. If you think that somebody is missing, like, and you are worried for their safety or whatever, file it immediately, because it's like crucial to get it in as quickly as possible.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is police will push back.
No, I know that's what you're saying. And that's where the myth is generated from, is people attempting to file within 24 hours, like they've been missing for 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever. And the police go, right? It's not that it's literally illegal or anything like that, but the police will be like, you don't need to do this. Like, this is really what it is.
Wait 24
really
hours.
What it is they're going, I don't want to do that paperwork right now, especially because they're probably just like drunk somewhere,
they could
whatever.
come back.
And it's the fallibility of humans, and they're not wanting to do work.
Yeah.
So
Can't wait
Well,
for
what did you
AI
think,
cops. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah,
oh
right.
my God.
I mean, maybe they'll do the grunt work that we need them to do, like the paperwork.
Look, yeah, if it makes,
I'm not an AI fan. Let me be clear.
barely a cop
But
fan. I wouldn't even
I'm
describe myself
not
as a cop fan.
Not a cop fan. I'm a fan of a really good detective. I don't put them in the same category.
But look, if it
ACAB,
makes
though.
if we can get more accurate police reports, I don't know. I just don't foresee AI helping out us in that way as it's going right now. But we're getting way off topic. Grant, what did you think?
That'd be crazy.
Dude, I love this documentary.
Yeah.
I think this is the third or fourth time I've watched it over since it released. I think probably my favorite thing about it is that, like, first of all, like, it's hard to screw up a story this sensational, because it is just what happened is crazy. But I think they did a really great job of pacing it. At least I feel like, particularly, like, my favorite episode is the episode when, like, what we talked about, the guy who like punched the guy in the back of the car and like the name was revealed.
Yeah.
Like the pacing and like how it felt. It's like, because you're just like, oh my God, we're so close. Because that's his entire time. We don't know what he looks like. We don't know what his name is. All we know is that he has an Avia shoe. And so it was just like, it kept my like interest and excitement like a written TV show would. So that's like the biggest compliment I can pay this documentary, is how they ended up telling it. I really enjoyed that. It was really, really fun. I think on this rewatch, though, I think I've started to notice some of the things that I think are a little silly. Because, like, most notably, I think Gil, who is really smart and very good at what he does, some of the stuff that he said, I was like, all right. It was kind of like your uncle kind of like telling a story, and you're like, wow.
Hey, yeah.
Any examples?
I'm gonna
come to
go
mind?
get some more green beans, but
Yeah.
great story.
He was like talking about how he used slang with somebody, and all he said was
with Ramirez. He said,
yeah.
Orale, yeah.
And that was it. I was like, that's your only example of slang?
He said the most common phrase used amongst. It's so funny.
Like, maybe it wasn't as common to people like us, like, to know about it, like, back then, but like, it was like, I was like, that's pretty funny. That's the
I use slang.
one
I
example.
said, "What's up, Rizzler?" It's like, Jesus Christ.
And then he was comfortable with me. That's all you have to do.
And his walls fell down.
Oh my God.
But that, like, I don't know. I just, out of all the documentaries that we've watched, that I've watched even outside of this podcast, I just love how the pace, the vibes were immaculate. Like, obviously it's horrible what happened, and I don't want it to be about entertainment. Like, I want it to be about informing, but I think just the nature about how the investigation went is kind of sensational, like a TV show. It was fascinating. I didn't know a single thing about it when I first watched it. And I thought like you guys talked about, like the withholding what he looked like for as long as possible, I thought was genius. Because you're just like, they're putting you in the shoes of the detectives, which I feel like we don't see very often. Like, I feel like a lot of times there's like reporters, or there's like a chief of police or somebody who wasn't directly the investigator in a case like this. So it was really fun to watch the people who figured it out, like where they were at with it and like why they chose specific things and that kind of thing. So I thought that was really cool. One thing I didn't like think about too hard a few times back, but like, man, I feel like the reporters are just kind of heartless. Like completely. Like when I was listening to whatever her name was, I don't remember anybody's name.
Laurel or Lauren?
Yeah.
I think Laurel.
Listening to her talk about like how to like get an in with the police and blackmailing them essentially is like, I was like, wow, that's really gross. Like, I get your story or whatever. If it was something like, I don't know, like a white collar crime, like somebody's like embezzling money or something like that. Like, I guess I can sort of see it there, but like, this is like, these are people's lives. Like, if this gets out, more people die, more people get raped, more people, like all of it. Like, how could you not think about that? Or maybe she is thinking about that and she just doesn't care. But like, I thought that was pretty gross.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how these positions, so many people can go into them for good reason, and so many people go into it for the wrong reasons. We see it a lot with cops, obviously, but journalists especially, I find myself either a huge fan of them, like it's like they release huge
like
stories.
Investigative journalism.
Yeah,
is huge.
like Mandy Matney, who did a ton of research and started a podcast about the Murdaughs. Like, that woman is incredible. She really busted her ass. And then there's people where I'm like, wow, you really just care about a story.
Well, it's the nightly news. It's not even about story. It's about
you
numbers.
Don't think about the implications, especially if like this is an active investigation and you don't know if like what you're saying could actually get this killer to escape or like change his tactics like it did with the shoe. It drives me nuts.
I think the most generous version of my like perspective on that is that maybe they never planned on actually running that story and they just wanted to use it to get other intel, and like that is what they ended up doing. They got some other detail that was like less important, and I think it was about the Hillside Strangler or something like that. And also, I guess another perspective would be like maybe getting this out to the public about the shoe would lead to the public finding this guy somehow. But I know those are kind of stretches.
I mean, it looks like Feinstein had good intentions when she put it out and you're watching it, but you're also watching it like, like literally, because we don't know who this guy is. If all you have is a shoe,
you can just buy new shoes
or like destroy the shoes.
Exactly. That's like a crucial piece of evidence.
Yeah, it's. I think putting it in perspective, there were so many serial killings going on, especially in this area during the 70s and 80s, and there's so many people in fear that like, even putting it on the news, you're not helping these people sleep at night, except for like lock your doors, be careful, but also like you're not helping these people be caught. I mean, if you're doing like, I don't know, very small sort of releases of information with the police or investigators or local districts and stuff like that, fine. But if it's like the public, unless they're going to give you a really valuable tip, you're making a mistake.
Yeah. No kidding.
I was reminded of 2 points that I wanted to make in regards to the things that I thought were good and funny inside of the documentary. The first good thing was their crime scene recreations had really interesting camera movements.
I
It
agree.
seemed like they recreated them in 3D in some way, shape, or form. And so just, yeah, like the way that it like crept through some of the crime scenes, especially at the earlier stages of the docuseries, it was eerie as hell, and it was really well done.
Yeah.
And then this one funny thing that I was saying as Katie finished it up today, because she fell asleep while we were watching it the first time.
Not because I was bored.
Because she
No,
was
I
just
get it.
sleepy.
I get it.
She's sleepy.
I'm a very
And
sleepy
what a
girl.
relaxing, cozy docuseries. But like when he's in the courtroom and they're like talking about all of his like satanic stuff, and it's like they recessed for the day, or like they adjourned for the day, but Ramirez had the last word, and he like put his palm up, but then he said "Hail Satan" in the audience, like everybody was like right, but the way that he did it was so, I was like, what a little. He was just like
Satan.
he was like it's like they stand up. He's like, "Hail Satan."
It was so
Like
funny.
he like tripped over his words. He was like, "Hail Satan," and it was just like,
Hail Satan.
yeah, "Hail Satan," and no, it was just so funny to me. It's like, and then everyone's like, "Oh my god!" But like me as the viewer, I'm like, this guy, like, he can barely speak.
Yeah. No, I had
You know?
that same thought. Like, he feels like just kind of like a nerd, like horrible person, but
Yeah.
also just like he gives nerd vibes, because like there's that one
I want
part
to give
where
him a wedgie.
yeah, exactly. No, there was that part where he was like, "Don't swear to God, swear to Satan." And I was like, okay, first of all, this situation's horrible and
Dork.
scary. But I was also like, really? I'm gonna cringe in my bedroom
Yeah,
while you're strangling
exactly.
me. Like, what do
It's
you
a
mean?
knife to my
Yeah.
neck, like, dude.
Dude, why'd you say that?
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Freak.
Did you
And this
plan
is
that?
before Batman, right?
Yeah, it's like,
Batman was like, swear
"Swear
to me.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I was
Oh my
just
God.
like,
It's like-
maybe it's because like satanic stuff just isn't really that scary right now. Maybe it was like really scary back then, but I was just like,
True.
really? I was like, that's
yeah.
dumb as hell.
That's part of my tangent, which is
Yeah.
really funny.
Yeah. Not to go off
no,
of
no, no,
Chris's
no,
tangent, but just to say, like, Satanism was something that was like very much like talking about like horoscopes and everything, like, because we're coming from
witchcraft.
like the 50s into like the 60s, and a lot of drugs are getting experimented with, but like the occult, and obviously Manson was a big Satan person. I also said to Chris, and like this bothered me, and it bothered me about Ramirez, not the documentary. I was like, oh my God, they should sentence him to brushing his teeth. Cause like literally that motherfucker didn't brush his teeth. And then he's like talking to his lawyer, like in the court. And I'm like, I wonder if they made him brush his teeth. Like, that's what I'm thinking about. Because I'm like, if he smelled like a fucking goat and like he never brushed his teeth and his teeth looked crazy, I'm like, yeah, they should. I mean, I'm not a believer in the death penalty. They sentence him to death, but like, also let's sentence you to some teeth brushing, my
dental
guy.
hygienist.
I mean,
yeah.
he went to the dentist.
Yeah, it doesn't
Dental
mean that he-
reconstruction, please.
yeah.
Yeah, literally. Rip that motherfucker's teeth out. Ow.
I'm confused about the death sentence thing. Like, why did he only die like 12 years ago from cancer rather than being killed
So
like 40 years ago?
death row, it can take a really fucking long time. I don't actually know how they choose who goes when. It might be a time thing. It might be like a level of severity. Chris is looking it up right now. But it can take like 20 years. You can literally just wait there and wait there. It's basically like getting a life sentence, and then
But you might die at some
So,
point.
procedurally, death penalty trials take extra time because there are two phases, the guilt phase and the penalty phase, and both may go to a jury. The death penalty...
it says one of the major reasons why inmates spend years on death row is the appeals process,
Yeah.
which takes years.
You can appeal, and it just... Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there's a backlog, as I'm sure there are, it can just take time and time.
How long does
and
it
time.
take to get executed on death row? On average, it takes approximately 16 years.
Wow.
Wow.
It's very common
Jeez.
that it's very, very common that people die before they're executed.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to go into the debate of like life imprisonment and the incarceration system and everything, but
Bring back penal colonies. No, I'm kidding.
Penal.
penis?
Wait. Oh, no, it's muted. Wait.
Son of a-
Where's my... No.
This made
oh.
it so much worse.
God, this is so embarrassing for
I
you,
think you gotta
Christian.
give
No,
it
I,
up.
I get it's okay. It's okay.
Penis.
I attempt to do my air horn, but I it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
but
okay. It's all right.
basically he got cancer. I mean, if we're thinking about the time, it was almost 30 years because he was sentenced in 89, I believe.
Okay.
So that
24.
would be approximately 24 years that he was on death row.
Crazy.
Yeah, 24
24
years. So yeah, I mean that's kind of standard.
I'm kind of
And
surprised that he didn't get killed in prison, unless he was in like protective custody. But like,
he could have been.
people
He's
like
in
him.
San Quentin, and San Quentin's
Okay.
like,
I feel like if you're on death row, the people around you are also on death row, and so they may be a bit apathetic to why everybody is there.
Yeah,
you
fair
know?
enough.
And it's like
Yeah.
he did do awful, heinous things, and he did them to children as well. So if he was in any other part of a prison, he probably would have.
Yeah.
But considering where he was and what he did, and yeah, I figured that's probably the case.
Yeah.
can I say something really? This is like one of the things I like laugh at, but in a really morbid way, like not because it's funny, but I just find it so interesting. I love that like extremely violent criminals could like murder their wives or like do horrible things to sex workers, like all of these things. And then they're like, you know which motherfucker we should kill? The one who touched kids. It's like, bro.
Yeah, it's their line in the sand. They go, that's like, well, I would never
Yeah, which is
with children.
yeah, I mean, fucking horrible. One of the worst, disgusting things you can do. But also, like, yeah, this guy killed kids or this guy touched kids. That means I'm going to kill him. And, like, don't come for me. I just killed my wife and my family, maybe. But it's like innocent. It's just so interesting that, like, I mean, it's the criminal mind.
I was gonna say,
But,
it's
like,
oh,
Dahmer was killed in jail. And like he was a terrible person, but like people are literally like, well, he is whatever, like victim number one in our mind. He is the
Yeah,
target.
it's
Like
interesting what is the line in the sand.
yeah, it's so interesting to me that like they're like, yeah, that guy, that's the guy we're gonna fuck up. Like
Yeah.
I mean,
where's
hey-
the logic, I guess? Like are you not gonna go for any or all of each other? But
I guess if I were to choose one kind of criminal, that'd be up there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
but-
yeah, but it's just so funny how like suddenly it becomes extremely. I just gave myself a cramp being in that position, so let me readjust. Ow.
you also keep moving forward, and you're like
I'm
speaking
sorry.
over your
I,
mic.
I literally cannot sit still. We should. know
Have you
this
ever
by now.
seen? Oh shit! What's that? Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
That one scene where they put like a mic in like a bush, and she keeps like talking away
Yeah, she goes,
from
yeah,
the bush.
yeah, and I can't stand.
I've never seen
That-
Singing in the
And
Rain.
her voice is so high pitched, so like they're trying to train her to have. I'm like, she's like,
Yeah.
can't. So basically, I've seen many like single scenes in Singing in the Rain like 15 times because I went to dance camp and our teacher like showed us the same scenes over and over. So I've never seen the full movie, but those things I know by heart, like those specific scenes.
That scene is actually really funny still.
Can we talk about Richard's looks? I feel like this is a fascinating.
Yeah.
Mama, I'm in
So
love
we talked
with
already
a
about the fact
criminal.
that woo, free
I'm not,
Luigi.
but-
Yeah, we'll cut this
I
out.
know.
I don't know how I feel about how he looks, and I know it's like a cliche and brain dead thing to talk about like how serial killers look, and that we've been doing this collectively for a long time. But this guy simultaneously looks like he could be a runway model, but he also has these like terrifying features. And when I saw that full screen photo of him, I was like, oh, he's fucking scary.
Yeah.
He looks like an animal. Like I
Yeah.
said it, he looks
Yeah.
like a coyote. It's insane.
Let me tell you something about women.
It's so funny. Actually,
Wham 'em.
let me make a quick relation here. It's like, has everybody here seen Nosferatu?
I have
Yeah.
not.
Okay, well, I don't want
Is
to
there a
spoil anything
screenshot
for
you
you.
can show us, or okay?
But yeah, I don't want to spoil anything. But let's just say
it's not going to be a spoiler. He's creepy and he's tall and
but
he's
that's
brooding.
what I'm saying. I made a joke after I watched the movie. It's like a true horror we can all relate to: falling in love to a beast of a man because he's 6'3".
There's a funny meme that's
tall
like,
men get away with so much simply like they'll like a girl will be like, oh my god, like I'm dating this guy and he's like this and this and this, he's 6'4", and everyone's like, oh wow, and you see him and he's like he just looks,
I've been a victim,
like, you know, face of a
can't
like
relate.
a mole rat.
I've committed several crimes. And
and
when the
gotten
police
away
caught
with
me, they were like, well, he's 6'4". So
He's 6'4". It's just, you know.
Where's the Nosferatu meme? I gotta show you guys.
No, you're absolutely right.
But like, I think that there's, in regards to this whole thing of,
absolutely.
You know, there's always that question of, are, you know, monsters born or made? And they talk about his insanely terrible childhood. So he did all these fucked up things, and then you see him and you can almost see past him a little bit and be like, yeah, so there's like objectively a level of like,
I can't really see it. How to go into 2025 Orlock maxing.
we can put it up on screen in the edit.
Cool mustache, generational wealth, owns real estate, 6'3", Romanian accent, uncut, untouchable fits, bisexual, sick vinyl collection, doesn't make a big deal about it. I'm going to do whatever it takes to be with this girl.
Uncut is crazy.
Oh
You
my
literally,
God.
that's how I found the meme. I looked up in my text, uncut, and your message is uncut is crazy.
But back to Richard Ramirez.
Yes.
Yeah, like there's that objective quality of like, because he had like the Jim Morrison hair and like,
Which we have to remember because he was like, Jim Morrison died in his 20s. He
I didn't know that.
died in, I believe, the 70s. And people loved him. My mom still loves Jim Morrison.
yeah. But like, who would this person have been if he didn't have such a fucked up childhood? You know,
1971.
Could he have been? He was in Hollywood. Maybe he would have been a movie star. Maybe in a different reality, Richard Ramirez is winning an Oscar, or who knows? You know,
Yeah.
But yeah, and I found it even, you know, this is such a obvious take, but I found it to be absolutely disgusting that there were people who were fawning after him, especially because I was like trying to justify it in my head of like, well, I can understand people like a bad boy, but it's like, did they not know about all of the child? Like, are we missing something here? They had to have.
Yeah.
It had to have been a part of the media frenzy, because like, how do you, as a media person who is willing to extort the police for information, how do you leave out all of the gritty details? They had to have known, which means that these people are like, this guy did these awful things and murdered people in the most brutal ways, and he like sexually assaulted children.
What is that noise?
Way into it.
Dump truck.
Oh, dump truck. Like
that
way.
here?
No, it was on Grandson.
Oh, God.
But like, they're like, I'm way into that. It's
Yeah.
That's why people didn't believe Ted Bundy did what he did, because he was super charming and handsome. Yeah,
That's how they
but-
get you.
But yeah, it's true. But what I was saying to Chris, and I don't want to name his name, but there is a model who like works in New York and LA that literally looks like Richard Ramirez. I'll show you guys off
crazy.
screen.
Yeah.
And I mean, people think he's super hot. I mean, it's the high cheekbones. It's a like chiseled kind of jaw. It's like the girls like skinny dudes sometimes, and they're tall and
Did he
they're
have a Kenfield
mysterious.
tilt? I forget.
A what?
It's some stupid bullshit with like looks maxing is figuring out like, do your eyes have a certain tilt, which makes you look more beta or more alpha or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, clearly, because
I'm
I
just
have no idea what
regurgitating.
you're talking about.
I don't either.
Oh, that's crazy.
I think there also could be some level of like, I can fix him type feeling.
I was thinking that too. No,
like
for
I
real.
recognize that's a joke, like a
real.
lot of times, but like I think that's also probably part of it. Like if you've seen where some of the romance novels go, that are hyper popular, like I think I was with my partner Sam. I've seen like some stuff that she grew up with, and she was rewatching it with me, and she was going, actually, this is like really fucking gross and like creepy. But she was like, but like growing up, like I loved this. I thought it was like super attractive or super romantic. So I think it's like there's some level of like taming the beast. I think in some people, it doesn't have to just be women, just like people in general, like who have a certain proclivity for this, see this like, oh, but like if he can love me, he'll protect me
Right.
with
Yeah.
that. Like
Or he'll
The
stop.
danger will not be enacted on me. It'll be an outward presence.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, women are natural caretakers. I read this in a book recently. It was like this whole, they didn't use the word caretaker, but women often, and I've been this person where you meet someone and there's bad things they do, and like you almost are more attracted to them because like you're going after their approval. You're trying to fix the wrong that's there. It gives you something to do. It feels like you're fulfilling your biological duty.
So when you
And,
found out that Chris played fire tennis, did that increase your attraction for him?
That's a good call.
no, I thought it was fucking stupid.
That's great. Yeah. See, when I do,
You know why? Because he's not tall.
Yeah,
so it doesn't
exactly.
matter.
Knew it. Oh my God.
do you hear that, short kings?
You
When
can
we're
win
bad
too.
boys, we're just stupid idiots. Stupid idiots who just like hurt ourselves.
He's not Orlok maxing, so no.
Yeah.
I also feel like we're animals, right? As human beings.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to me that like murderous genetics would persist in some portion of the population, and that historically when we were cavemen, that maybe some women were attracted to people.
He's doing this every episode. And I always pick it up.
Who can defend themselves and who can like go and like destroy people in other villages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, why are we so attracted to high cheekbones?
Bigger mouths.
No, like there's got to be we should Google it. What were you saying, Grant? Continue.
I was just gonna say that like, so I think if there's some people that like psychology background, but like if there's some people who don't feel great about themselves, this doesn't have to be women or men, it's just people. Like if there's a person that doesn't feel great about themselves and likes to feel needed because that makes it feel like that they've secured themselves in a relationship, it's very possible that they'll be like, oh, somebody who's terrible, like who's doing these things is attractive because that means they're not thinking this like consciously, but it could be that they're thinking like, oh, I can do something to help. And that means I can secure myself in the relationship, and that means that they'll love me or whatever.
And I can have meaning.
Right. And that's sad. I feel
Yeah,
bad
it's
for those
super
women
sad.
for feeling like that's something that they need.
Super
At
sad.
least in this situation, that they felt like they needed that. Because
Yeah.
he sucks,
Yeah.
to say the least.
He really sucks.
And just to spell it out for people who might not have watched it, like women were sending him nude photos when he was in jail. Like there was like a ton that they showed
Yeah.
in the documentary.
Yeah. I mean, women marry killers that are in jail that sometimes they can
Yep.
literally never make physical contact with. Like it's
It's
happened to I think Ted Bundy probably got married.
Oh,
I don't
for
want to say
sure.
that for sure. I know the Menendez brothers are both married, or at least one is still married, which is a whole other case and a whole other set of circumstances. So I don't want to lump them together necessarily with Richard Ramirez. But it happens constantly. It happens, and women, I don't know the actual like biological reason. I mean, we're hypothesizing, but like women, you could probably be hideous and women would still send you pictures in jail if you're a killer. There's some sort of weird, like, should I do it? Should I not? Is someone going to see it? Yeah.
Well, just the very act of doing something that is bad, can be attractive to people.
There is a case and they made a limited series on it, and it's amazing. Escape at Dannemora. I think I've talked about it before.
So good.
And it's with Benicio del Toro and Paul Dano and Patricia Arquette, and it's directed by Ben Stiller. It's awesome, and it's based on
Directed
a real
by Ben
case.
Stiller? Okay, send this to me.
Yeah. It's directed by Ben Stiller, and it's incredible, and it tells the story of these two guys who are locked up in upstate New York, and how they kind of tricked this woman who was she headed up the like sewing repair shop at the prison, and these two guys seduced her and convinced her to smuggle in tools so they could escape out of the prison. And I don't want to spoil it too much, but you can see all the little like breadcrumbs of like why she picks up and feeds into it and ultimately helps them to escape. And it's wild. I mean, people are desperate. You never really know why people do the things they do, but there's a whole host of reasons. So you sent it. That's funny.
Yeah. So, Chris, earlier you mentioned like what the cause might have been for him becoming like this, and you could imagine him having done other things if his childhood had been different. There was a quote towards the end that I think he said. He asked, like, "Is there such a thing as a bad seed when a baby is created? Is he already a serial killer, or is he created?" To me, that was like fascinating because this guy was like self-aware. He was curious. He's intelligent. He read. He went to the library. Like, he had high verbal intelligence, and like it's what he was asking the exact question that I think is on a lot of our minds. Like, why did he have the motivations that he does? Some weird combination of like nature and nurture. Like, that really struck me.
Yeah.
The
I
self-awareness.
can tell you why. That's part
Please
of my
do.
tangent. Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
is
we
this
can go into it.
A good transition into
into tangents. Just so everyone, for anyone who hasn't seen our show before, after we talk about our thoughts and overall observations about the documentary that we've watched, we go into the second or third step thoughts that we had about the documentary, about questions that we might have had related to the documentary or not, stuff that goes a little bit deeper, less about the overall quality of the documentary. So anyway, we can hop right into that.
So I'm actually going to flip the order of how my tangent goes because I wanted to talk about the serial killers in California pre-Night Stalker, and then I was going to talk about why he was led to do these things. So we're going to just do a little flip-saroo. So recently I read Mindhunter, which is by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker, Shaker maybe. John Douglas is a former FBI agent who was one of the first criminal profilers. And there's actually a show kind of loosely based on the story. It is incredible if you have not seen it. It is Jonathan Groff. I always forget his freaking name, but he's so good. It's directed by David Fincher, who is incredible. It's just a great cast of people. It's like
Holt McCallany.
That's the
Holt
name of
McCallany. Yeah, he was just in Iron Claw. If you guys saw that,
Yeah, he was the dad in Iron Claw.
He plays like really tough, gruff figures.
We've also got Anna
Tough and
Torv
gruff.
in it.
Tough and gruff.
It's like it's an incredible
It's
series.
so good. A lot of it is based on truth and what's in the book. A lot of it is sort of like kind of pulled out. And I mean, the characters that are in there are based on people, but they're not the exact people that are in the book. And he was one of the people that interviewed famous killers such as Bundy and Edmund Kemper in the 70s and 80s, and is much of the reason why we know so much about serial killer criminal behavior today. In the book, he emphasizes that behavior reflects personality, that the behavior of the killer, even during the crime, reflects their personality and can tell you things about their background and even their prior criminal history. It's really interesting, that part of the book. Like, you can see he can basically like see one crime and totally guess the entire profile of who this person is. And most of the time he's like pretty much right on. He says that behavior is something that cannot necessarily be controlled. He emphasizes the signature as a compulsion that the killer may have. Sometimes the reason why they do the crime at all, for sexual gratification, for collecting trinkets or little things from the kills they have. I guess we could say in Ramirez's case, it was definitely sexual gratification. We saw him we didn't see it, but we knew he like masturbated at scenes. And there was this compulsion, like he literally couldn't stop for this whole period in 85. And we know to be true that many of these killers suffered trauma in their childhood. It really is that nurture kind of outweighs nature, but nature can play a huge part in it. Such as abuse of all kinds, torture, and they may have exhibited antisocial behaviors such as harming animals, wetting the bed, and fire setting, called the McDonald Triad. I didn't know it had a name until today, which is really cool. So what do we think caused the Night Stalker? I can make my own assumptions, not being a profiler myself, but we get some information in the docuseries, and we know he looked to killers like Ted Bundy, but he also had a traumatic childhood. He was frequently abused by his father. He developed brain damage as a result, and he started abusing drugs at age 10, which can really alter your brain chemistry. And when a lot of people talk about nature versus nurture, a lot of times nature comes from the parents abusing drugs and therefore passing that on in vitro.
Oh.
Yeah. So his cousin, who was a Vietnam War vet, showed him pictures of Vietnamese women that he had allegedly raped, tortured, and killed when Ramirez was only 12, and taught him military techniques that he later employed in his own killings. Ramirez, that is. The next year, he saw that same cousin fatally shoot his wife. He became obsessed with Satanism and the occult. I mean, it was really popular during this time, so we can obviously see how that thread is put together. And around this time, Ramirez also started breaking into homes and dropped out of high school. He left home at age 22. He was addicted to cocaine and would often commit burglaries that could include rape and murder or attempted murder in order to support his addiction. And there's a quote I found from Wikipedia, which I didn't even want to like change. I thought it was great. And it says, quote, psychiatrist Michael Stone describes Ramirez as a made psychopath as opposed to a born psychopath. He says that Ramirez's schizoid personality disorder contributed to his indifference to the suffering of his victims and his untreatability. Stone also stated that Ramirez was knocked unconscious and almost died on multiple occasions before he was 6 years old, and as a result later developed temporal lobe epilepsy, aggressivity, and hypersexuality. Outside influences, abuse, fascination with Satanism, occult, and new ways of thinking post 1950s and the 1960s, which was drug-addled and full of like new age thinking. I think that definitely contributed to it. So this is going to be a lot of information really quick. I just want to highlight what we're seeing in California at this time, pre-Night Stalker and leading into Night Stalker. I didn't even include all the serial killers that were in the 70s and 60s. At this time, but I'll give you some of the highlights. Carl F. Werner, who was active from 1969 to 71, he murdered teenage girls in Santa Clara County, California. Obviously, Ted Bundy, who was active from 71 to 78, has 20 proven victims, but the potential is more than 30. He killed one identified person in California. Unidentified, sorry. And that was how he was able to get away for so long, like I was saying before, because he was killing in different places. Ronnie Alcala, or the dating game killer. He was active from 71 to 79. He had 8 proven victims. The potential was 50 up to 130 plus, and he primarily killed in California. Randy Kraft, or the scorecard killer, who was active from 71 to 83. He hit Southern California, Michigan, and Oregon. Kenneth Bianchi and Angelo Bono Jr., who are the Hillside Stranglers. They were cousins, active from 77 to 78. They killed in Los Angeles and Washington. Roger Kibbe of the I-5 Strangler. I majorly included the ones that had a name because we were talking about that with the Night Stalker in the documentary. He was known for murdering women picked up on freeways in Sacramento. William Bonin, or the Freeway Killer, from 1979 to 1980, had 21 proven murders, and he was in Southern California. David Carpenter, or the Trailside Killer, was active from 71 to 81, or 79 to 81. He had 8 proven victims, and he stalked and murdered women on hiking trails in California state parks. And Joseph James D'Angelo, or the Golden State Killer, super famous, active 79 to 86. He had 13 proven victims, and he killed in Sacramento and the Southern California area. We also have to remember at this time that BTK was not caught yet, so he was still at large. So we're looking at a range, and these are just the people I included. The list is so long, from 1969 to 1986, and when he was killing was 1985. There is a slew of people just dying left and right, and there are people who are getting away for it, sometimes for years. I mean, I believe, and don't quote me on this, the Hillside Stranglers, Angelo Bono was caught because of genetic genealogy, but it might have been the Golden State Killer. So this was going on, and I mean, all these influences, obviously he was abused and everything. But think about the environment. If you are a difficult personality, to say the least, how this might influence you to be part of this and to maybe become famous. Like BTK really wanted to be famous. People have all different motivations. So
thank you for that research. I actually have a question about that. Why do you think that there were so many in such a short period of time? Like so many different serial killers?
I mean, I think it could be a lot of things. I don't necessarily, there may be an answer out there that people have come up with. I think it is a combination, and Chris is going to talk about this more, a combination of what we're seeing from the 1950s. I mean, there's a lot of these people are like the boomers. I mean, they're people coming from out of the 40s, probably have some trauma from the war, World War II, that is. into the 50s, which is very straight-laced, sort of like nuclear family. If you don't fit into that, that can feel really isolating. Then going into the 1960s, I mean, from the 50s to the 60s, we're definitely seeing parents abusing not only their other spouses or also children because of the idea of the perfect family. Obviously, it's never perfect. And we didn't really have the laws we have now about child abuse and the things that and the more active conversations we have. In the 60s, obviously, we're dealing with a lot of LSD and drugs and sort of like freewheeling thinking, but a lot of shit comes out of that. I mean, there's interest in Satanism and the occult and everything because people are willing to do anything to get away from this sort of straight-laced 1950s, I need my life to look a certain way, and if I don't fit in, what happens to me? And then we go into the 70s, and the 70s are a lot about sex, drugs, rock and roll. I mean, Manson comes about. If you guys haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think it gives a really good picture of not only like the Manson family and what they were doing, but also what was happening around it and how people were like really having a ton of sex. Also, one of my favorite movies, Boogie Nights, really shows you like a ton of sex, a ton of drugs, how people really didn't know the effects of these things and kind of went crazy. So I think it's a combination of a ton of things, but I mean, some expert may be able to say more, but
fair.
You are the expert. That was a great answer.
That's great. It's fascinating.
Bruce is loose. Try to have some random.
For our audio listeners, suck it, but also that's what Katie's shirt says.
My shirt
Katie's wearing
says
a
Bruce
novelty
is
shirt.
loose. Yeah, it's from
Bruce Wayne.
No,
Bruce
Bruce
Lee.
Lee, but also it says starring Lee Bruce, the only star who could play the part written for Bruce Lee. I don't know. It's some movie shirt. I got it from my job because I work in a movie theater. So
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm fascinated by this stuff, and it actually was helpful for me because I knew a lot of these guys, and I'm like, it's all happening at the same time. So I was like able to sort of put it on a timeline. So
Yeah.
We're gonna clip that.
Yeah.
If anybody has any other questions, that this
Do you want to use my iPad?
No, it's okay. My tangent is pretty short and is semi-related. So it's just about counterculture in general. And
Let me use my stand.
no, it's okay. I don't.
Okay.
So yeah, you talk about like what gave rise to this, and I think it's really important to look at history and what were the big movements during that period of time. Of course, it's like we're coming off of the 40s into the 50s is post-World War, this big boom, the baby boomers, and a lot of social programs being instituted, but then also with anything that you're doing, you're having an opposite to it. You have a counter culture. Whatever the dominant culture is, you have certain social groups who kind of push against it and do things that are opposite to it for the purposes of literally upsetting that culture or trying to push something through. And so as you go into the 60s and these social programs that are put into place are having opposition against them, you're also having another war. You're going into the Vietnam War, and that kind of gives a new counterculture, which is anti-war and everything that came along with that. But at the time, too, as Katie was saying, you've got the nuclear family structure, which is highly white, highly Christian, all of these values. And so you go for the opposite of that. Like what is the opposite of people who are very privileged, making a lot of money, evangelicalist? Is that
Evangelical.
Evangelical.
Thank you for mentioning Vietnam as well. I forgot to mention that.
But the crazy horrors of war there, and then the drug experimentation that happened both abroad there and at home, and then the horrors that kind of come over with that, and just the idea and the action of doing the opposite of what the dominant culture is, I think was the spark of the powder keg that led to, I mean, we saw violence in the 80s, like it was insane, in New York City. It was like, we couldn't live where we live today in New York City in the 80s. I mean, we could barely, like, you wouldn't want to live anywhere truly in New York City in the 80s because it was
especially in Brooklyn,
dangerous. It was incredibly dangerous. So you have untold violence just happening, and you have the idea that we just need to be opposite of the dominant culture. That can come in different ways, right? that can be in the rise of the hippie movement and the peace and love, but it can also literally take rise in like punk movements and anti-establishment anarchists and Satanists, anything that is literally the opposite of what the dominant culture was at the time. So just to quickly throw in there, a social group, this is the exact kind of outline of what counterculture means. A social group whose values and behaviors significantly differ from and often oppose those of mainstream society would be known as a counterculture movement. And these movements are expressing the aspirations of specific populations during particular eras. So the civil rights movement was a counterculture. It literally was. It was by design pushing back against a mainstream culture and dominant culture that was saying that they were lesser class citizens and they didn't deserve rights, and so counterculture pushed back against it. Countercultures challenge dominant societal norms, advocating for alternative lifestyles and value systems. They often emerge in response to perceived societal injustices or rigid cultural standards, promoting ideals of freedom, expression, civil rights, and anti-authoritarianism. One of the most notable countercultural movements occurred during the 1960s in the United States, and this era was marked by widespread rejection of conventional societal norms, with youth opposing racial segregation, the Vietnam War, and traditional authority structures. The movement encompassed support for civil rights, women's rights, LGBTQ rights. Think Roe v. Wade. We got that during this whole counterculture rise. And it was very much characterized by the rise of the hippie subculture, which is different than a direct counterculture. Counter just means anything that's opposite. Psychedelic music and communal living. Music played a pivotal role in spreading countercultural ideas. Artists like the Beatles, Bob Dylan, Jimi Hendrix, and Janis Joplin became icons of the movement, using their platforms to address societal issues and promote peace and love. Events like the Woodstock Music Festival in 1969 epitomized the counterculture's peak, bringing together hundreds of thousands in celebration of music and shared values. So that's a little look into counterculture, and I wanted to pose a question to everybody, and that is, can counterculture exist today? Do you think that it can exist?
Didn't it already?
It definitely does.
Like, remember the Antisocial Network, like where it was talking about Anonymous and everybody on 4chan, that they were like, some people were doing it to fight for change, but a lot of people were doing it just because it was the opposite of what people wanted to see. So that's why there's a bunch of Nazis and stuff. So I think probably, yeah.
So my reaction to that is yes, but the reason why I started to look into this and put my thoughts down, and in my opinion, the internet has blurred the lines between counterculture and mainstream culture. Ideas that were once underground or alternative gain traction incredibly quickly through social media and digital platforms, and as a result, countercultural movements that might be considered that often get really quickly co-opted. Think about like the LGBTQ community and punk rock and things like that, and how it's been commodified. It's like once June rolls around, Target's like, hello, queers, come on down and get our pride stuff, right? And people are walking around wearing like Joy Division stuff and AC/DC stuff, Black
Ramirez.
Sabbath, like just like things that were once supposedly a signifier of some kind of countercultural movement against the dominant, because that's the thing, is there needs to be a dominant culture for a counterculture to exist. So if we're saying that like 4chan and things like that are a counterculture, I would disagree. I think it's incredibly mainstream to be on 4chan, and so it's like, what? So then, what is the counterculture, Katie?
Well, I was going to say two things. I think it does exist, and I think we're going to see a huge uptick now that we have another Trump presidency, and so many things are going to change, and obviously climate change and everything. But I think also what you're leading into, I might be wrong, but how I'm interpreting it is that counterculture can eventually become mainstream, and then it keeps shifting. So obviously, like 4chan, I wouldn't say it's necessarily mainstream, but I would say Reddit is very mainstream now. Maybe that's a more mainstream version. People use Reddit for a lot of reasons and to spread information, kind of like TikTok even. Like it's similar where like you can kind of get true information, could be some false, but kind of unfiltered.
You're getting
Hold on.
information that you otherwise wouldn't, I think
That is a better way to put it, because there's a lot of stuff on TikTok that's wrong. But I think 10 years ago, that wouldn't have been the case. I mean, TikTok wasn't even around. And I think a lot of the things, like you were saying, AC/DC, Joy Division, things that were counterculture eventually started to move into the mainstream and then become like a Nirvana shirt at H&M that you can buy. And there's so many. But I think they did exist as counterculture. They just shifted. And I think counterculture and mainstream can exist separately. But eventually, as things maybe become more counter, what was counter before kind of shifts over to mainstream. And then it keeps doing a shift until it's absolutely extreme.
I completely agree with you. It's not exactly what I'm getting at, though, because I think part of me is like, yes, the idea of a counterculture is that change would eventually happen, right? And that's the counterculture kind of gets into the mainstream culture in a good way, in a way that we shift and we say, yes, black people can vote and desegregate schools, and women's bodies are their own, and you can't force them to carry a baby to term if they don't want to.
Actually, just kidding.
Actually, you'd be surprised. So
2025.
But that's what I'm saying is today, the moment these cultures, these countercultures emerge, they so quickly gain traction. It's like there's no half-life. There's no decay between when it happens and when it becomes mainstream now. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I want to hear Mo's thoughts, if you have any, because you haven't had a chance to speak yet.
You don't have any.
Sorry, I literally have something in my...
No, he's just doing it for dramatic flair. Lay it on us.
So I think, yes, I agree with Katie that there's like a cycle that happens in culture and anything that's cool, where something, like anytime something gets very popular, then it becomes natural for some group to like zag when the other group was zigging. And after that thing becomes cool. Kanye did this for a long time, right? He would just like do some random wear weird ass clothes, and then everybody was like, oh, that's the cool thing, I'll start doing that. But I also see your point, Chris, and I don't know how to like, put these two things together, but basically the internet has made it so that even tiny niches you'll find like a massive community, just because in a world with over 8 billion people, there's a lot of people that are going to like some weird ass random thing. And so it's easy to find a community around anything. And if you can find 100,000 people to talk about something with, it doesn't feel like counterculture anymore. It just feels like it's mainstream. But maybe one version of counterculture today would just be people that are not on the internet.
Okay. So this is kind of a good lead in, because I was trying to discover this for myself. I was like, okay, so I want to posit this question, and I want to say, like, not that I need a definitive answer, but like, yeah, what does it look like? What is like, and I started like, is it just people who are actively trying to reject things that are normal, like that what people would consider normal, right? You got a smartphone, I got a flip phone. You're on social media, I'm not on social media. You're doing this, I'm doing the opposite. And that's
You're
like,
a person, I'm the Unabomber.
It's like, well, I don't know about that, but I was just like contrarianism, but that feels empty, because the idea of a counterculture is that you are pushing something that you want to change, right? And so I'm going to throw one out there that I kind of was like, wait a minute, maybe this is a current counterculture. Today here, January 15th, 2025, is the current counterculture. I don't know but it's anti-elitism. Because in my opinion, I think elitism is huge right now, where the elites have more wealth than they've ever had in their entire life, and they have more control than they've ever had, and people are kind of waking up to this and going, wait a minute, we are all the 99%,
right,
are under this thumb, and it is a dominant social movement because everything in society is kind of moving as they see fit, right? And it fits to them, and it has support from multiple different rungs, right? Even people in the 99% are trying to get into their grind set. The difference between me and Jeff Bezos is that I just haven't had my idea yet or whatever, right? It's
Grind set.
like I'm just like I'm a temporary non-millionaire or whatever the phrase is, right? This whole idea that, you know, and there's support for these elitist ideas. So they're glorified. So by simply having class consciousness, is that a counter culture? I don't know. I mean, to me, it feels like it could be like the culture of being anti-elite, the culture of being, I don't want to say populist because that's not what I want it to be, but
I think populism, like that word has gotten a bad rep, but I think like in general, like the idea of it, of being like pro people and anti-elite is kind of good.
Pro, like, again, there are all these like, and it's so funny because, you know, you see it, the part of the counterculture during the 60s was this Red Scare, communism thing that you could just throw out there as a way to shut down the counterculture. Well, all those hippies are just communists, so don't listen to them, right? And the Black Panthers, oh, they're like an extremist group, and oh, you know, it's like, so we use these labels that unfortunately have soured or have all of this like history behind them of like socialism, communism, populist, this, that. So what's the word? I need to find the word to describe this like brotherhood of man. It's that, but that's just corny and cheesy and doesn't really sum it up. So we have the elitist culture of America, let's just say, because that's where I live and that's what I know. So you have the elitist culture of capitalism in America. So what's the counterculture? It's the everyman. It's the people. It's the 99%. And what's the opposite of capitalism? It's just anti-consumerism, I guess, you know? So that's my tangent. I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
And audience, you decide. What do you think?
Leave your answer in the comments.
Comments. Put it in the comments below. Let's have a discussion, but keep it civil.
Oh my God. Well, I was just going to say really quickly, I feel like I agree with you, but also if the counterculture is 99% of us, then can it be counter?
But that's a good question, right? Because
but I don't think
how do we describe dominant? What is the dominant culture? Because here's the thing. If our culture, the culture of anti-consumerism and anti-capitalism and anti-elitism was truly dominant, would we all be going to work tomorrow?
No.
So yes, I would not say that, even though there are more of us, we all don't hold these values. We do not all have an anti-capitalist, anti-corporate, anti-elite mindset. There are a ton of people in this country who are saying, that's going to be me one day. Or, no, like, I actually support billionaires or whatever. It's like, you're just a sucker who can't make money or whatever, right? So that exists. So I would say that the dominant thing that's driving our society and our culture is elitism. So I would say that anti-elitism or anti-consumerism or anti-capitalism or whatever you want to call it is truly the counterculture of our time.
Yeah. Oh, so one point I have to support you is the reaction and the surprise of corporate people and corporate elite and political elite after what happened with Luigi.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was so surprised that all the comment sections were positive.
Yep.
And that to me tells you that it is counterculture, because even though the vast majority of people think these things, before this, they didn't feel comfortable sharing this. And so it wasn't in the culture. Like people weren't open to talk about it because I guess the Overton window is decided by the elites until something big happens. And then it just like opens the floodgates of like all these latent feelings people have had but weren't able to talk about.
And the dominant culture is resisting and attempting to poison it, right? That was what we saw with these countercultures, is that the war on drugs was literally invented to shut them down, right? Mm-hmm. To break into the Black Panthers, to disperse the hippie movements. Oh, these are unlawful organizations, right? So we're going to break it up, right? We saw the reaction when the killing happened. The police force turned out one of the largest manhunts in New York City history for one guy who did this one thing to one person, right? And it's because of the implication. It's all about, you know what I mean? Like it is, and we see it. We saw it the moment that it happened, is that most people went, why are we freaking out over this? Right? So I'm gonna stick to my guns there. And not that anybody here is like, no, you're wrong, but like, yeah,
No,
it's like,
you're wrong.
as we discuss it further, I'm like, I do feel that is the counterculture that is starting to happen and is trying to get squashed, because now, people who might feel on the fence about it are trying to be swayed one way or the other by the media being like, well, if you condone that, or if you don't feel bad about what happened, you're condoning violence. It's actually like, no, as a matter of fact. But people will give into that and be like, oh, well, I don't want to condone violence, because then that makes me no better than the thugs that I see on Fox News. So
I remember like a day after that happened, maybe a week, there was like some guy who lit someone on fire in like a New York subway. And like there was not a big deal made about that.
Nope.
Yep. That's crazy.
And it took a while to find the woman who it was.
It was a dude. who.
No, I mean the woman who
Oh,
was the victim.
Who was on
identify the
fire,
victim.
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
She was like periodically homeless, like struggled a lot, and I don't know if I forget if she had any family that was living. It was really heartbreaking.
That's a really good example, Mel. Really, really good example. So yeah, that's my little tangent on counterculture.
Awesome. Who are we on now? Grant, did you? Yeah. No, you didn't go.
I haven't gone. Mo, do you have one?
I was just going to ask a few more questions about this, but if you have like something you would like to share, I would rather go to you first.
Oh no, I tend to have more questions than I have like a big thing to share.
I love that you guys are like the question guys. I'm like the big research one, and he's the like, let's talk about this buzzword.
Yeah, I like to
in a good way.
No,
in a good way.
yeah, I'm definitely trying to like take multiple things and bring them together for conversation.
No, yeah, you just have
No,
like
it's cool.
The synthesizer. That's you.
I like that.
If you find out about a serial killer in your neighborhood, what are you gonna do?
Oh,
Great question.
When you say found out,
It's happening right
clarify.
now. It's been happening for 3 months.
What would you do? But do you mean like they're actively hunting, or like someone here lives?
Yeah. Basically, like put yourself into the shoes of people who were living in LA in 1984. Because,
I would not let you like ride the train alone. That's not me being like, I wouldn't let my baby ride. It's just like, no, I feel like genuinely, if there's an active serial killer who's not been caught and he's going after most likely women, it's like I'm on the train with you, no matter what, right? Like I'm thinking about like, well, where is a serial killer most likely to strike, right?
Let me tell you what they're thinking.
Please.
They're gonna think that is the first thing. So maybe it'll be an Uber driver or a taxi cab or something. But there has to be a way where like they can get away with dropping people off, or like they have a system, because they're gonna know, and that's very public. So it's probably not gonna happen on subways.
Yeah.
So the question is, if I know someone is active, we don't know who it is though.
Yeah, exactly. So
Something I just realized though, just sorry not to interrupt, but there's no cameras on subways.
I know, but there's many eyewitnesses.
Yeah, but like, what if it's super late at night? You get on that one train car, there's nobody on.
There's still eyewitnesses.
But
the fire one, right? There was like, I think one person caught it that was after, because she was asleep, right?
Yeah.
Like the one situation we were just talking about. Like there were no witnesses, I don't think, during the situation, but like a few minutes afterward, someone caught it like with their phone or something.
So I hate to be morbid, but like, let's say for example, it's super late at night. And not me being like, well, how would I get away with it? It's like, it's super late at night. You're in a train car alone. This dude comes in and he knocks you out. He drags you. It's like you're in between stops. He drags you to the door between the train cars, takes you and just tosses you out on, you know what I mean? Like he'll like literally drag you, throw you out onto the tracks under the moving train. And that's how he kills you. There's no witnesses potentially. There's no cameras on the train, and then like maybe
Aren't there
the train,
cameras in the subways though?
Inside
the stations.
But that's what I'm saying. It's in between stations. They don't know specifically which train car until it's off, and then you just like get off and you walk away potentially.
Allegedly in game.
Allegedly. But like that's where I'm like
4 people found murdered in the New York City subway system.
But like it's as a in the modern age, being a serial killer is probably like much harder depending on where you are. In New York City, the most surveilled city in at least the United States, if not the world, you know, it's one of the reasons why they were able to kind of track Luigi, is that there are cameras literally fucking everywhere. So you would need to think about where there aren't cameras. There are cameras all over the streets. There are cameras in subway stations, in restaurants, in buildings, everywhere. So I feel like the one place where there's not a camera right now, as far as I'm aware, are inside subway cars.
Yeah.
Don't get any ideas, New York serial killers.
I mean, that's the thing. It's really funny because Rex Heuermann, who's accused of doing the Long Island serial killings, learned a lot from the Mindhunter book. Like, you have to know that if you're putting that information out there, I mean, it's, to spread information so people can learn, but also there's always the threat of people knowing these things.
It's just been fascinating just to even see you guys like think through how you would approach this, because you're putting yourself into the mind of the serial killer to figure out how you would defend against it, which is just like, it's fascinating, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about in New York right now, if someone was going around, I mean, it would be super surveilled and like people would be sharing whatever they had if they caught a photo. I mean, I think it would be really hard to get away with it. I don't know. I think I would be doing all that I could without putting myself in danger to share that information. I mean, I am really nosy. If something happens, I like kind of look and I'm like, what's going on?
Would you move? Would you get a gun?
You can't have a gun in New York City, so I can't here. I don't know if we would move. And something else that I was thinking about is that unfortunately,
I want to move every day.
You know,
There's days I want to move every day, and it has nothing to do with a serial killer.
In New York City, we have seen, you know, like targeted attacks and things like that. It's not like there's no violence here. It's actually one of the safest cities in the United States. But
shockingly,
we do see violence occasionally. And something that I was thinking about is that unfortunately, you know, we would most likely not be victims of it because serial killers will go for people who probably don't have a whole lot of family, who won't be missed, or this or that. A lot of the random violence in New York City is unfortunately racially motivated.
I mean, let's just say quickly too that there are different types. There's organized and unorganized. So people could just attack randomly, which is what Ramirez actually did, and he got away with it for so long. So, I mean, yeah. I would lock my damn doors.
Yeah, I would
get a ring camera.
I would try to lock the doors. I would make sure, like, it's genuinely, it's like, especially if you know who they're targeting, if it's dudes, I would be like, hey, will you like come with me here or whatever? I don't know, like, just like, still street smart, of course. You know, I wouldn't go out past 11 p.m. while he was active. You know, I would just try to be indoors by the time the sun is setting. You know, it must be terrifying. I can't imagine if there's an active serial killer and most likely they're operating in the wee hours in the morning, that you just like get home, you lock your doors, and you hope that, you know, they hold.
No Midwestern sensibility.
Yeah, exactly. No, we used to, you know, I grew up in the countryside of Wisconsin and we used to leave our doors open. We would literally just like, because the kids would be coming home from school and we didn't have keys at that time. So our front door was just always open.
I mean, this was in the documentary, right? That person who said, I wrote down the quote, "We're from the Midwest. That's not how we live. That's not who I am. I'm not going to lock my doors." And I was thinking like, dude, you're in LA now. Like literally we're not in Kansas anymore. And you kind of have to adapt.
But I also think like, I mean, I don't think that woman ever would have wanted to be killed and have that happen to her family. But I think there is a certain peace with older people sometimes where they're like, I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to live the life I live. Like,
I don't want to live
happens,
in fear. I don't want to live like that.
Which is true.
Totally.
Doesn't excuse what happened at all.
But Grant, what would you do?
Well, my situation is a little bit different. I'm not going to dox myself, but I don't live in a super populated city. I'm in a more rural type town.
Here is my zip code.
My SSN, I'll text that to everybody.
Awesome.
I live at 42 Royal Vista or whatever. I can't think of the Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
you got it. P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. Anyway.
So like for me, I would definitely have a gun. Like I don't own one, but like in a situation like that, I would get one for sure. My office and my bedroom are split. and my bedroom is we call it the shed, but it's more like an actual like room that's out there that has like air conditioning and stuff. I would not be sleeping out there. But I don't know. I don't know how much it would affect my life, to be perfectly honest. Like I'd probably get one of those doorstops that I see people, like especially women who live alone. I've seen that on TikTok. It's like this like big pole they put underneath the door handle to make sure nobody can kick your door down.
I like that.
I'd get one of those. Have a gun. Don't go outside when it's dark. But I mean, to get anywhere where I am, I need a car. So it's not like, and
You're
also
like
have
walking alone at night. Yeah.
right. So I'm never really doing that. And our driveway's pretty long. So if it would be pretty stupid for a criminal of any kind to try and do anything, because there's one way out and it's a long walk, decently long walk, compared to like, when you're right along the street. So for me, it'd just be like, if I hear anything, and we also have motion activated lights out the front. So it's just like, if I see motion activated lights, I'm like, what was that?
The ATV killer. That's what I thought immediately. I'm like, how would you get out? Oh, he's got an ATV.
He's got an ATV.
And
yeah.
it's silent somehow.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like to me, like the biggest thing would be like, I think like with what Richard Ramirez was doing was like people were asleep. But like having really good locks, maybe some kind of like home security system.
Yeah.
Home security system would be really good. Yeah.
Self-defense.
And particularly being in a smaller town, higher likelihood that it would be me, as opposed to if it were New York, where there's millions and millions of people. We have in the thousands, not the millions. So it's much more likely that it would be me than it would be somebody else here. So just make sure that we also have a dog who barks at literally everything. So
there we go.
That also works out. Would be scary though. Would be very scary. What about you, Mo?
Okay, so if I can't move, then gun, home security system. I'd start a WhatsApp group with like all my neighbors.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, just to make sure.
Neighborhood watch.
See something.
Community involvement. Yeah.
Yeah. Besides that, maybe like walkie-talkies with people in my building or something like that, or with my family at least. Just some way for people to communicate with each other, and definitely like motion sensor type stuff. Just because, looking back at the Richard thing, he was like breaking in many different ways. Like sometimes he like through the cat door, sometimes through a window. Yeah. It's just back doors,
garage doors.
Oh my God, yeah. And I'm trying to. It's hard to put yourself into the shoes of somebody from 40 years ago, but they didn't even have cell phones.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so wild. But we have all of these things now. So yeah, I would definitely like make use of technology and like bringing the community closer together to help each other. Although if he's in that WhatsApp group and we don't know,
it's so
the
funny.
ultimate foil.
Oh man. Yeah. All right, Grant, over to you.
Okay. Honestly, I don't have like the biggest tangent in the world, but like one of the most interesting things that I found about Richard is that he's not like, I don't follow serial killers, so I don't fucking know anything about recent events, but they're the most famous of them all, the Night Stalker, or not the Night Stalker, the Jack the Ripper, from a couple hundred years ago. What's fascinating is that one of the days that Richard couldn't sexually assault and kill someone, he just killed someone. He, the same day, same neighborhood, within probably not even an hour, went and did it to somebody else. Which I thought, I was just like, wow, that's terrifying. Like, can you imagine like getting a call about one and be like, oh, by the way, there's another one that just happened. That actually happened with Jack the Ripper as well. It was within, I think, 30 minutes, and it was just on the road.
It was really close together.
Yeah. And so like the police officers were actively trying, like he was on the streets and they were trying to find him. They never found him, obviously, but
wow.
Like
he's still at large.
Yeah,
dead.
exactly. Yeah.
you hear at large, but it's like it feels so much more immediate when it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, he's killing right now. That's kind of terrifying, and that like it's not just Jack the Ripper. It's also just like some schmuck who is a serial killer does that too. I'm just curious about what you guys think. Like, I don't remember who said it, but like this compulsion, this need,
Yeah.
like can't, yeah, Katie saying that, like, he can't not go out and do it. And so when he's
Yeah.
not able to, he goes to the next. Like, I guess in this situation, I'd be curious do you guys think it would even be possible for somebody to do something that stupid, profoundly stupid as a serial killer, to go, oh, I didn't get quite what I wanted, so I'm just going to go down the road and find somebody else to murder. Because Jack the Ripper, no phones, obviously there's no technology whatsoever, so it's way easier to not get caught. And to a certain extent Richard as well. Like, a bunch of people are like, there's not a lot of cameras, like there's if ever, it's at night, people aren't really out and about, so you can kind of go from door to door. I think maybe Bundy did this too, I don't know that for sure though. But like now people have Ring cameras, people have security systems, people have phones,
There are street cameras,
right? There's tons of stuff. So do you guys think that's even like possible anymore? Yes, Katie?
Yes, I believe as long as humans are around, it will be possible. I mean, what's really terrifying that they've said is that there are way more serial killers out there and active right now than we even know. I think it's something like, yeah, maybe in the thousands, something crazy. Like, we don't really know. Because a serial killer is just someone who kills more than like 2 people, I think. I think it's more than 2. I think it's like, it hits 3. It's totally possible. And it goes back to, in Mindhunter, there is this sort of need that needs to be gratified. I think that's the verb I would use. If your need is to kill someone and then that is your sexual release, and maybe you, sorry, I hate that I'm using these terms in this way, but
You're
it's
good.
obviously for the sake of this. If you rape someone, but the sexual gratification you get from killing someone, and then in another instance, you rape someone and you are like in the mindset, I mean, especially if you're moving so quickly as Richard was and as Jack the Ripper was, and many serial killers are able to do, you need to finish that cycle of satisfaction. I mean, that is the reason why you're doing it. And I honestly, I hear what you're saying about stupid. I don't even think it comes into play.
Oh, I'm
I
sure.
don't even think they're thinking in that way. And I think if you want this thing bad enough and you need this thing bad enough, you will find ways to get it, which is what they do. I really want you guys, I mean, I'm full of recommendations today, aren't I? I really want you guys to watch the movie. It is Bong Joon-ho. It is one of my favorite movies.
So good.
I've seen it 3 times now, and I will continue.
Sorry, the name of the movie is
Memories of Murder.
Okay.
And it's about this investigative team. It's going to make you crazy because there's stupid cops, corrupt cops. But they are trying to find this murderer, and you see the tension. Obviously, there's like, it is terrifying to be in the midst of a serial killer.
Well, specifically,
investigation.
it's basically cataloging the events of South Korea's first confirmed serial killer.
Yeah, so
wow.
it is a true story.
It's based on true
a
events.
true story. But it's really like happening in real time.
Yeah.
And there's things they pick up on that they're like, oh, it's happening when this thing happens. Oh, it's happening when this thing happens. And they're actively trying to prevent it, and it's happening right under their noses. And I think killers are smart, unfortunately. There's some that are organized and they get away with a ton and they have a process, and some of them are disorganized and they maybe eventually get caught. I mean, Ramirez got caught, Jack the Ripper never got caught, the Zodiac Killer never got caught. I mean, they're thinking they might know who it is now, but yeah, I mean, they are stupid enough. Like, it is the motive of killing. If you're not getting the satisfaction, why do it at all? But everybody has different motives.
And I think that I had said something, and then you were talking about the difference between, organized, disorganized, all of that. I think that in this day and age, I think, maybe we think about it in terms of big cities too often, but if you've got a car and you have enough will, you can go, and because a lot of serial killers talk about it like hunting. They're scoping it out. They're finding the proper hunting grounds, right? Because if you really think about it, and you are a determined serial killer, you could drive out to middle of nowhere, find that small town that still is kind of living in previous technology areas.
Yeah, true.
Where people might not have Ring cameras or home security systems or whatever, and you could probably just, maybe not hit the same town over and over, but I mean, in the way that even I can come up with this, someone who's like really determined, I guarantee.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they could probably plan it out like, oh, I bet I could hit this house and then this house and then this house before the cops are even called, and then they'll start investigating that, and then they'll get another report, and then it's just, and then be out of there before they can, because like, what are they going to do to keep somebody there? Set up roadblocks, set up this, like, you know what I mean? Like, you still have to be careful and all of that, but, and then for somebody who's not organized, if they're determined enough, they'll just try it anyway. Whether or not they get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was gonna be my follow-up question. Is it even possible to get away with in a place where stuff like that is a thing? Like if it was in New York, although I don't know. But yeah.
100%. I'm trying to see if I can find my Kindle notes, even though it was a library book for Mindhunter, because I feel like I highlighted important stuff, and I would recommend people read it. It is very dense. There's a lot of names. It took me a long time to read it. I think the show is awesome, and much quicker, obviously. Maybe, hopefully, I can find it. But I don't know if they
while you're
share it
looking, Mo, what do you think? Do you think it's possible to get away with even in a place that has a lot of infrastructure?
Get away with? It seems like it's much harder. I think Katie would know better than me, but it seems like because we live in a much more like surveillance state nowadays compared to 40 years ago, like it feels hard for me to just seeing out how murders have been playing out recently. Like you get video footage the next day. It's pretty wild. But in terms of whether or not somebody would still do it, yeah, like if it's a compulsion, I mean, just the description of the way he had to do it, and the specific example you gave where he failed to do it with one person, he had to move on to the next. Sounds like OCD, right? In some ways, and it's like a very like maladaptive, scary version of it. And I'll get into my own OCD story in the green room. But it like when you have to do it and it's not treated, you have to do it.
Yep.
I found my notes, but I'm going to see if anything is relevant. So continue chatting.
No worries.
But I agree with Mo. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that people will probably still do it, but I'm just curious about like, how would you even? I know people will try, but like, when you know that there's a serial killer on the loose, they've killed somebody, and then it's like, oh, somebody's already killed somebody else. And in Jack the Ripper's case, he never got caught somehow. Like, what would it take for somebody to be able to get away with that? Like to know, like the police are like, oh yeah, this guy just killed, and now he just killed again. We have to go to the next house where this happened. Like, how does that even? How would someone even get away with that?
You know what? Nowadays, I think I bet you these guys would have a Discord and they do it together. They do it on their own.
Oh my god!
No,
I mean, literally, the guy that killed those 4 people in the Idaho college house, he like was asking people on Reddit, like, how would you commit your perfect crime? And they found that.
Not going to Reddit. How to commit perfect
He's
crime.
so
Reddit.
stupid. He also left the knife sheath like a dumbass.
That's insane.
That's ridiculous.
There's something I think I wanted to read.
But yeah, people can help you like cover your tracks nowadays.
That's
and
true.
If you could do one, somebody else could do the other. It's like YouTubers collabing, except like a very morbid version of that.
Not a serial killer crossover event. Oh my god!
It's like the That's So Sweet Life of Hannah
Please.
Montana.
Oh god!
I thought he was gonna say Zach and Cody.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
That's when
because
she was
Sweet
on
Life
Sweet
of
Life
Zach and Cody, but it was the mashup. So That's
they
So
get into
Raven.
such high
The Sweet
jumps.
Life of Zach and Cody,
Yeah.
Hannah Montana.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, well, when we're talking about signature, I can define signature for you guys because I think this is important to know. Where did it go? Oh, modus operandi, or your MO, is learned behavior. It is what the perpetrator does to commit the crime. It is dynamic. That is, it can change. Signature, a term I coined as John Douglas, to distinguish it from MO, it is what the perpetrator has to do to fulfill himself. It is static. It does not change. So they are going after the signature. You can kind of think of it as in like scientific like discovery. If it's like you have the independent variable and the dependent variable. It's like you're going after like the result, and what changes is like how you get there, sort of. That's what makes
Yeah,
me think
that
of
makes
it.
sense.
Slightly off topic, but Katie mentioned earlier she was really into like great detective stories, and that kind of made me curious if that's part of the reason why you love the Batman. Was it?
Uh-oh.
I like the Batman, the new Batman, for a lot of reasons. I really like the coloring. I think I'm very attracted to coloring, and I think it was really cool.
Beautiful movie.
I think the script is cheesy in a lot of ways, as the Batman is. But I really love Paul Dano. I love Paul Dano. He was so good. And I think I love the Batman because I think it actually feels like it gives a motive to the Batman as to why he does things. And you see him as, not that you need to be some sort of like strung out, internet obsessed, like depressed dude who likes Nirvana to like be the Batman, but like it felt more motivated to me than like the previous Batmans have been.
Somehow leaning into the cartoonish nature of Batman while leading into a more like what's the word? A more realistic look as to who Bruce Wayne might be as this kind of child of these millionaires who's thrust into the spotlight, as opposed to the more what's funny is that it's comic book that in the Nolan Batmans is that he very much is that like millionaire playboy facade while he's this dark knight underneath that the comics had, and it's also based off of different comics, of course. But yeah, I mean, I loved the aspect of him as like an investigator, and it was very like Wild West cowboy during that car chase after he emerges from the flames, his cape blowing in the wind, right? He's like slowly walking over to the car. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why.
Cool. Did you have anything else to add on from the notes?
I'm gonna take that as an. I'm gonna.
Yeah,
say
I think we'll
say that we're gonna move on to the green room.
Yeah.
For everyone, for those of you who have
Thanks,
not
y'all,
watched
for
this
being
before.
patient.
Oh, no worries. For those of you who have not watched or listened to this before, the green room is where we shoot the shit, essentially. We talk about stuff going on in our lives and talk about what's cool and fun and
Get all
whatever.
personal and stuff. Yeah.
Get to know us as people. So I'm gonna say random. Mo, what's your green room today?
Random, as I'm raising my hand. Yeah.
Raising two hands.
Raising two hands. Okay, so I will share my OCD story, and it will start with me sharing this image. This is
Do you
the only
actually have
photo I was able
OCD?
to find with him. Kind of, not.
Sorry,
I'll
that was a
explain
really
it.
personal question.
Oh, I'm about to get into it. So, like,
Okay.
I just don't know how to answer it because I would say I used to.
Yeah.
So this was my abnormal psychology professor. He's a blind Indian man named
Abnormal Psych is great.
Rajesh Malik. This was like 10 years
He's
ago.
blind too. That's really cool.
Yeah. He looks pretty intimidating, but he's the sweetest man. He had the kindest smile. That picture does not do him justice. He was lovely. It was a little bit of backstory. Like, he used accessibility features to run the class. He sometimes asked students for help. He walked around
Awesome.
the school with a cane, and he was just super, super generous. Anyway, in one of the classes, he covered OCD, which he defined as the pairing of an obsession with a compulsion to perform a ritual to deal with that obsessive thought. And in my
I see
case,
where you're going.
it was like, so yeah, obviously with Richard Ramirez, like there's sex, there's murder, that stuff.
Different, but
For me, it was locks. So if I left my house and I locked the door, I could not get that out of my mind of like, I have to double check, triple check. Sometimes I would check like 10 times. This started when I was like maybe like 16. And it was like, it happened at school lockers and stuff too sometimes. And it was like, it varied from day to day. On some days it was like perfectly fine. And it was still happening in college when I was taking this guy's class. And one of the very simple but hard like behavioral treatments that he taught us was exposure response prevention. So basically, when you are exposed to that obsession, like that thought comes up, you just have to not give in and this is obviously very hard to do, but you just have to sit there with the uncomfortable feelings. And like tried doing it and struggled very hard at first, and like there's ups and downs, but after like a month, my symptoms were like within control. They were gone. I didn't have to check
Wow.
that many times anymore. And caveats are my symptoms were mild. I was never formally diagnosed. It was never like bad enough to actually disrupt my life. It was just like annoying, and I guess something that I felt a little bit of shame around. But that said, like I'm super grateful to that professor. So shout out to him because I'm fine now. But
Wow.
yeah, mild experience with OCD.
That's incredible.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you identify why you were so fearful about not having your door locked?
No, it wasn't. To me, it didn't feel like there was like a psychological reason behind it. To me, it almost felt like biologically, I don't know, something
just had to
happened
be
one day.
locked.
Yeah, you had to
Yeah.
check.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I
I've
mean-
heard people with OCD describe it that way, but I was just wondering if there was like something that precipitated that for
Right.
you.
Yeah, I do think it could be a genetic thing. My mom has a bit of anxiety, and sometimes it feels like she's OCD about little things. But yeah, I wouldn't say there was like a very specific reason or like a trauma that triggered it, at least in my situation. But the fact that, you know, this simple treatment was like enough to fix it, I think shows you it wasn't super bad, but also it shows you the power of like behavioral treatment, even without medication sometimes.
No kidding.
Yeah. That's super interesting.
Hell
Thanks
yeah.
for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
That's so cool.
That's really, really cool.
He seems like a sweetheart.
Yeah,
Nice guy.
lovely guy.
That's also cool. I don't know anything about OCD treatment. I only know a good chunk about trauma therapy. So OCD treatment, that's really fascinating that was
Yeah.
what did it, because that sounds hard as shit. It just like, it's the bad way to say it, but it's just like tough it out, thug it out.
Yeah. For
Um,
real.
Yeah,
like-
exposure therapy. I've
which
heard,
is like,
but
wow, what a difficult way to get through it. Like, it's not like, oh, maybe I could think about it differently. It's like, no, you just don't do it. That sounds
Yeah.
really hard.
stop, bro.
Yeah, because like the thoughts that would run through my head after I close my locker and I start going to class is, oh my God, what if I get robbed? Like, what if somebody just comes and opens my lock up and then like,
Yeah.
Chooses your locker.
yeah,
Your one locker.
exactly.
You know, yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it's just completely irrational. Of course it is. Like, if I had to explain this to someone at the time, they would have thought I was crazy. But it's just like you're some like story that your brain is making up to justify this random obsessive thought that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't even like know the symptoms or the treatment obviously until I took this class, which, you know, most people are taking that class to like pass a grade, and I used it to like actually solve a mental health problem.
Yeah,
So-
no, that's
For
awesome.
real. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Abnormal Psych is like one of the most fun psychology classes, in my opinion, just because of stuff like that. Because like you can so easily apply it, if not to yourself, to other people. And actually, in mine, it's probably called something different, but they said you are most dangerous as a psychology student right when you finish that class, because you have enough knowledge to be able to say, oh, I recognize these things, but not enough skill to be able to diagnose. So you got to be really careful if you take that class and then bounce from psychology.
Yeah. Damn.
You want to know something crazy?
What?
I thought you were going to say you were most dangerous because of like what we've been talking about. Like,
Oh.
you know, all these like trigger signs, and you could like, oh, here's how I can get away with shit. Because
Exactly.
also the guy I was talking about who went on Reddit and was like, what is the perfect crime? Blah, blah, blah. He was a PhD criminology student. So he was studying it.
Yeah. I guess the like one difference between me and Richard is that Richard, maybe he wouldn't be motivated to change in the first place. It's not like he was trying to get rid of his symptoms. He was like, I think he was actually enjoying it, unfortunately.
Yeah. He was
Yeah.
not remorseful at all.
Yeah. And speaking of therapy, Grant has to go in like 10 minutes. So like, let's
Yeah.
move on to the next person.
I got a really quick
Go
green
for it.
room. Of course, we've talked outside of this, but I got a great new job that I'm really excited about. But that's not the green room that I
Yes.
want to share. So I set a goal for this year for me that I want to have a creative project for each month of the year.
I didn't know that.
At least just started. Yeah, I thought I talked to you about this. Anyway, doesn't matter. So that's what I just at least start something. Whether or not it like goes to completion inside of that month doesn't matter. So for the first one, for month number 1, I realized I'm like I don't really have anything, but I do. I'm running a D&D campaign for like the first time. I've DM'd before, but I am basically I thought I was going to adapt to other pre-made campaigns because I like, and I kind of generally am, but I'm actually doing every like brand new encounters all by myself. I'm drawing battle maps. Let me see if I can just really quickly pull them. There they are. And I'm literally like hand drawing my battle maps.
That's
on
so cool.
grid paper.
Yeah, he's having a great time.
Yeah, I'm having a fantastic. It's really like sparking my imagination in ways that I haven't in a while. So yeah, that's my. I'm really excited about that.
Good for you.
For what comes next in this year, because February is just around the corner.
Yeah.
So that's me.
Honestly, no, that kind of goes into mine.
Do it.
Do it.
I for the audience, I released a video last month that some people were not happy with. Not everyone. Actually, the like to dislike ratio is still in the positive, but
Hell yeah.
way lower than I am ever used to. That's not the green room, but I want to do the same thing. Is I want to try and get back into videos, and I've been
Hell yeah.
trying to figure out like why it's so difficult for me sometimes, because like I think I either put too much pressure on myself or not quite enough. So it's striking a balance of like I want to be putting stuff out, but I also don't want to make it feel like I'm going through hell to do it. I have another video that I want to release this month, and I want to try and release a video every month if I can, or at least work on one. And I'm very excited. This newest one is just a straight review for a co-op game that is Dead Island 2. But the next video, the next video that I want to do that I'm working on with my partner is a Valentine's video that we'll see if it gets released on Valentine's, is getting her into co-op games. So it'll be our adventure of trying different games. What are the friction points? What was hard? What was fun? What's things that I should know about for her that she likes and that kind of thing. So I'm very excited to be working on more stuff. I have like a million ideas. When I released that last video, despite the very concerning reaction by some people, I was like, I am addicted to making videos. It is so much fun to put something creative out that you put a lot of time and effort into, and for people to see and to enjoy. So I want to keep doing that.
Engagement is engagement.
Exactly.
Positive
it's true.
or negative. So
it's very, very true.
It's true. That's so cool, Grant.
Yeah, but that's mine. I want to work on videos.
Nice.
Awesome.
Okay, so mine is Chris and I have a bastard cat that we love a lot. He is very cute, but he's a bastard. He's very smart, as we have learned. We knew this, but he was basically rescued from a cat colony in Staten Island a year ago. We're about to celebrate his 1 year.
His
gotcha
gotcha
day, 1 year. But in our new apartment, our kitchen isn't connected with our living room. So we have like kind of a little doorway. We can probably put a picture up at some point. A little doorway that's separate from the rest of our living space. So it's over there. And the cat is obsessed with scavenging. I mean, he definitely has food insecurity issues that we've dealt with. We fed him every 2 hours a little bit, and he gained a ton of weight. So we're not doing that anymore. But yeah, he's been struggling with that since we got him. So we decided, let's try a baby gate so we can keep him out. Within a day, he learns how to jump over it. Literally scales it easy. Like most
no
cats,
problem.
no issue.
I mean, I don't know why we thought that was going to work, but
It's tall too, so
It's
I
decently
wasn't
tall.
sure. So then after that, I'm like, why don't we get some like accordion door? Like, cause we can't, there's hinges in the door frame. So there was definitely a door there, but the way that the hinges go would open in, and we don't have room for that because we have shelving and
yeah,
everything.
like the door jamb, like the actual frame, it can only swing into the kitchen, and we need maximum space in the kitchen. So having a door that opens in just is not going to work.
Yeah. So we don't have a traditional door. We have this like little accordion door that has magnets on the side. And we put that up and we're like, awesome, this is going to be great. He paused the door and figures out how to open it and gets in. No problem. Pretty much within a day or two.
Yep.
He's so fucking smart. So then I'm like, why don't we put the gate in front of the door? Within a day, he sticks his hand through the gate and paws at the door.
Gets it open just
we should
enough.
include a video here.
We'll post a video.
It's insane. And he opens it just enough so he can push it open and jump over the gate.
Cats are ridiculous.
Yeah. So right now we're trying.
So the next step, I taped up the single slot that he was able to get his paw through. So
and that was near the
near the side he could get it. So I taped that up. And he was managing to actually pull the gate on a slight hinge. And so I've locked that down. He's pulling it
towards him.
So just like.
So this morning I took a video of him. He is taking the edge of the gate because the bottom of the gate's not really secured, and he's pushing it forward so he could try to get under it.
Wow.
So that's where we're currently
That's a
at.
smart
Man
cat.
versus
Really smart cat.
And
Yeah, exactly.
it's a saga.
And we are like 0-5.
Yeah, it is really embarrassing. Like, he is so smart. I don't even.
That's
He's sleeping
crazy.
He's sleeping in our room. He either sleeps or he tries to break into the fucking kitchen. It's like.
He's like
He's
the
like
Tom
the
Cruise
laziest
of cats. It's
motherfucker,
insane.
but he's also like a burglar. It's crazy.
No,
So-
dude, that's my cat does something similar, although it's less about him being smart and him just being fucking strong. He's like the buffest cat in the world, but like we have a heavy slider door that he has discovered that he can open fully himself. Like, it's not a light slider, and he's he's not a small cat, but like,
You gotta send us a video.
I'll see if I can, but like one paw, it just goes, he just like opens it himself. And so now, like, because it's cold out, we have to worry about like him opening, because he just goes in and out. So it doesn't matter if we close it. He just
God.
opens
So
it
it goes
himself.
outside?
Yeah. Well, he's an outdoor cat, but
No, I didn't realize it was a door to the outside. I figured
yeah.
it was like between two rooms.
Like a
no,
pantry
he
door.
gets to go
Oh my
outside.
My God.
Wow. That's crazy.
That would be
Cats
our
are
worst
wild.
fucking nightmare, because he also is trying to escape our apartment at any chance he gets.
Yeah.
And is like meowing to the cats downstairs.
Oh yeah,
So
we've
that would
got
be our
alley
worst nightmare.
cats, and he can smell them. He can smell them. And he's like, "Come up here. It's warm up here. There's food up here. I know how to get into the kitchen.
And we feed the cats outside.
I got the
but-
keys to my dad's car."
I got the keys. I got the keys. Literally is our cat. That's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, your
That's all I have
guys'
to
story
say.
is even crazier. I can't wait to see how he figures out the next way.
Yeah, I know,
What
right?
we need-
Don't say
On the next
that.
episode.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
we need is some sort of collapsible door that goes in, and I know this doesn't exist. It collapses so the sides don't have to go anywhere to like open, and we need to have a fingerprint.
Oh,
That's
wow.
where we're at.
A fingerprint.
We need like
To
an
get in.
architectural breakthrough.
Oh, I see.
We need something.
I know what we're gonna get as a solution. We just get like it's like a bifold door that sits on like the old classic like barn rail, and we just need to have a hook on the other side so that he can't.
But where is it
Open it.
going to slide? Or is it Oh,
It's
whatever.
a bifold, so it folds. And,
Oh,
yeah. We'll get him eventually.
We'll get him.
And doors are expensive.
and we'll be 1 in 6. It'll be great.
Doors are expensive. 1 in 5.
They're expensive.
We're at 5.
Yeah, we're 0 and 5. So if we get a door, it will be 1 in 6, right? No, I'm
1
stupid.
in 6. Oh,
I
and
don't
5.
do sports.
1 and 5. Yeah.
I don't
know how it works.
What
I don't
is
do
going
numbers.
on?
I don't know.
I just bet all my money on the Broncos. And that's a wrap.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
And leave us a thumbs up if you like this episode.
Before we say goodbye, check out the description to know what we're watching next.
And make sure to eat your Ovaltine.
That's it. That's the intro. That's it right there. For the outro.
Outro.
Sorry.